What's going on, Bears faithful? Welcome back to Bears News Fan Report, your ultimate destination for everything Chicago Bears, where I bring you the freshest news, the most detailed analysis, and all the insider information you need to stay ahead of the game. Today I've got a story that perfectly captures the wild, unpredictable nature of the NFL, a story that connects directly back to one of our most thrilling moments this season, and a story that's going to make you think differently about roster management and the chess match that happens behind the scenes in this league. This is the kind of development that shows just how interconnected everything is in professional football. And trust me, you're going to want to hear every detail of what went down over the past few days. All right, Bears Nation, let me paint a picture for you. Think back to Week 6 of this season. Remember that incredible finish against the Washington Commanders? Remember the tension, the drama, the absolute electricity in the air as the clock wound down? We had a chance to win it, to pull off a victory that would give us momentum and prove we could win the tight ones. And what happened in that moment, in that pressure-packed situation where everything was on the line, became one of those signature moments that defines a season. One kick, one swing of the leg, one ball sailing through the uprights as time expired. That's the kind of moment that players dream about, that fans remember forever. That becomes part of the story we tell about this team. But here's what makes the NFL so fascinating. What makes following this league so addictive for people like you and me who live and breathe this sport every single day. That moment, that kick, that victory, it didn't just impact our season. It created ripples that extended far beyond Soldier Field, far beyond that single game, far beyond what any of us could have predicted at the time. And now, weeks later, we're seeing the consequences of that moment play out in ways that are absolutely fascinating from a football operation standpoint. I want you to think about the kicker position for a second. It's one of the most unique, most pressure-filled, most scrutinized positions in all of professional sports. These guys have one job, and when they're called upon, there's no hiding, no sharing the blame, no excuses. The ball either goes through the uprights or it doesn't. And in today's NFL, where games are decided by razor-thin margins, where every single point matters, where field position and scoring efficiency can be the difference between playoffs and disappointment, having a reliable kicker isn't just important, it's absolutely essential. Now, the Chicago Bears have been fortunate this season to have Cairo Santos as our primary kicker. Santos has been solid. He's been reliable. He's been exactly what you want from a veteran specialist who understands the pressure and consistently delivers when his number is called. Just this past Sunday, against the Minnesota Vikings, Santos came through in the clutch once again, drilling a field goal as time expired to secure another dramatic victory for us. That's back-to-back games now where we won on last-second field goals. And that's the kind of winning that builds confidence, that creates belief, that makes a team dangerous down the stretch. But here's where the story gets really interesting, and this is where I need you to pay close attention, because we're about to dive into something that happened behind the scenes, something that involves roster decisions, practice squad dynamics, and the way teams around the league are constantly evaluating talent and looking for ways to improve. Earlier this season, Santos dealt with an injury that forced him to miss some time. When your starting kicker goes down, when you need someone to step in and handle those crucial responsibilities, you better have a contingency plan ready to go. And the Bears did. They had a young kicker on the practice squad, a guy with an interesting background, a guy who had been through some struggles but showed flashes of real potential. That kicker's name is Jake Moody. And if you've been following the team closely this season, you know exactly who I'm talking about. Moody was a third-round pick by the San Francisco 49ers, which tells you right there that he's got legitimate talent. Teams don't use third-round picks on kickers unless they really believe in what they're getting. But things didn't work out in San Francisco. Moody struggled with accuracy, couldn't find his rhythm, couldn't build the consistency that you absolutely need at that position. The 49ers eventually let him go in September, and that's when the Bears swooped in and signed him to our practice squad. Now here's what's really impressive about what happened next. Moody came to Chicago and started working with our special teams coordinator, Richard Hightower, who has an excellent reputation around the league for developing specialists and getting the most out of his players. And something clicked. Moody found his confidence, found his mechanics, Found that mental edge that separates the guys who succeed in this league from the ones who don't. When Santos went down and Moody got the call to step up to the active roster, he was ready. Over 2 games filling in for Santos, Moody hit 8 of 9 field goal attempts. That's an 89% success rate, folks. And in the NFL, that's excellent production. But it was one kick in particular that really put Moody on the map. One kick that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. One kick that brings this entire story full circle in the most fascinating way possible. That game winner against Washington in Week 6, that dramatic finish, that moment of pure pressure and pure execution. That was Jake Moody, a practice squad kicker filling in for an injured starter, stepping up in the biggest moment and delivering when it mattered most. That's the kind of performance that gets noticed, that gets remembered, that makes teams around the league sit up and take notice. And apparently, one team in particular didn't forget. One team that experienced that kick from the other sideline, that watched the ball sail through the uprights and end their hopes of victory. That saw firsthand what Moody was capable of in a pressure situation. I'm talking about the Washington Commanders. And here's where we get to the breaking news that I've been building toward this entire time. On Monday, according to multiple reports first broken by NFL Network's Tom Pelissero, the Washington Commanders signed Jake Moody off the Bears practice squad. Let that sink in for a second, Bears fans. The same team that lost to us on that game-winning kick, the same organization that watched Moody celebrate on their field, the same franchise that experienced the heartbreak of that last-second defeat. They're the ones who came calling when they needed a kicker. That's not a coincidence, folks. That's the Commanders saying, we remember what that kid did to us. We remember how he handled that pressure. We remember the leg strength and the accuracy and the composure, and we want that for ourselves. It's actually a pretty incredible compliment to Moody and to the work that our coaching staff did with him during his time in Chicago. Now, I know what some of you are thinking right. You're wondering why we didn't protect Moody, why we didn't elevate him to the 53-man roster, why we allowed another team to come in and poach a player who showed real promise during his time with us. And those are fair questions, legitimate concerns that deserve honest answers. Here's the reality of the situation. Cairo Santos is our starting kicker, and when he's healthy, he's the guy. Head coach Ben Johnson made that crystal clear throughout Moody's stint on the active roster. Santos has earned that role through consistent performance, through years of reliability, through proving time and time again that he can deliver in crucial moments. And the numbers back that up, folks. Despite what some fans might think, despite the occasional complaints about his range on longer kicks, Santos has been really good this season. His field goal conversion rate is significantly higher than Moody's overall. And just recently, he set a franchise record for most made field goals from 50-plus yards. That's not just good. That's franchise history. That's elite production from distance. So when you're looking at the roster and trying to decide whether to keep 2 kickers on your 53-man roster, the math just doesn't work. It's not logical, it's not practical, and it's not the right move for team building. The Bears could have technically protected Moody by adding him to the active roster before Washington came calling. But that would have meant using a precious roster spot on a backup kicker when Santos is healthy, performing well. In the NFL, where every single roster spot matters, where depth at positions like offensive line and defensive back can make or break your season, you simply can't afford to carry 2 kickers unless there's an injury situation that demands it. It's just not smart roster management, no matter how much you might like the backup player. So, what does this mean for the Bears moving forward? Honestly, I don't think it changes much for us in the immediate term. Santos is our guy. He's kicking well. He's proven he can win games for us in crunch time, and we have confidence in him to continue delivering. What it does show, though, is that the work our coaching staff does, the development that happens even with practice squad players, that's creating value that other teams reckon. Moody came here after struggling in San Francisco, found his footing under Hightower's guidance, and now he's getting a legitimate opportunity to be a full-time kicker in the NFL. That reflects well on our organization, on our coaching, on the culture we're building here in Chicago. For Moody, this is an incredible opportunity. He's going to Washington with a chance to be their starting kicker moving forward, to prove he can sustain the success he showed in limited action with us, to build a career in this league. And you know what? I'm happy for the kid. He worked hard. He took advantage of his opportunity, and now he's getting a shot to be a starter. That's what the NFL is all about, and there's no reason to be bitter about it. What I'm most excited about, though, is what this says about where we are as a team right now. We're 7-4. We're in the thick of the playoff race. We're winning games in dramatic fashion, and we're doing it with a roster that's deep, talented, and well-coached. The fact that we can develop a practice squad kicker to the point where another team wants to sign him, that's a credit to our organization. The fact that we're winning close games, that we're executing in pressure situations, that we're finding ways to come out on top when the margins are razor thin, that's what championship teams do. Now I want to hear from you, Bear. What's your take on the Commanders signing Moody? Do you think we should have protected him and kept him on the roster? Or are you comfortable rolling with Santos as our guy? How do you feel about Cairo's performance this season, especially those clutch kicks we've seen in recent weeks? And looking at the bigger picture, how confident are you in our special teams unit as we push toward the playoffs? Drop all your thoughts in the comments below because I love hearing from you and getting different perspectives on these roster moves. And listen, if you want to stay on top of every breaking news story, every roster move, every injury update, and every bit of insider information about the Chicago Bears, you absolutely need to subscribe to Bears News Fan Report right now. Smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload, and give this video a big thumbs up if you found this analysis valuable. Share it with your fellow Bears fans, because the more informed we all are, the better we can support this team through the ups and downs of an NFL season. I'll be back soon with more updates, more analysis, and more exclusive content. Bear down Chicago Bears. Let's go get this playoff spot.